Have you ever noticed that two women can have the same education, the same opportunities, the same talent, and even the same ambition, yet one builds the life she's always dreamed about, while the other spends years wondering why she feels stuck? From the outside, they look almost identical, but internally, they're living completely different lives. One blames circumstances. The other studies herself. One spends years trying to change the world around her, while the other changes the woman looking back at her in the mirror. And that changes everything, my friend, because the quality of your life isn't determined by what happens to you. It's determined by how well you understand yourself. If you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk a lot about self-awareness. And today, I want to take that conversation a step further, because self-awareness isn't the goal, it's the doorway. And on the other side of that doorway are three things every ambitious woman wants, even if she doesn't realize she's searching for them. Agency, authority, and authenticity. These aren't personality traits. They're the natural outcome of understanding yourself well enough to live in alignment instead of living on autopilot. So today, let's hold up that mirror, not so you can judge the woman staring back at you, but so that we can finally meet her. Okay? Let's get into it. The mirror doesn't show who you should be. I think one of the biggest lies we've been told is that personal growth is about becoming someone else, a better version, a stronger version, a more successful version. But I don't think that's true anymore. I think personal growth is mostly subtraction. It's removing the expectations, the masks, the people pleasing, the fear, the perfectionism, the stories that you've been telling yourself about who you have to be in order to deserve success. When you remove all that noise, you don't become someone new. You uncover who you've been all along. Psychologists have found that people who practice curious self-reflection, not self-criticism, tend to regulate their emotions better, make wiser decisions, even under pressure, and build healthier relationships because they're able to recognize their own patterns before reacting to them. That's the power of holding up the mirror. Not to find flaws, but to find truth. Self-awareness gives you agency, and agency is one of my favorite words. It simply means believing you have the ability to influence your own life, friend, to make choices, to respond instead of react, to stop living life as if it's happening to you. So here's what I see all the time. Someone says, my boss stresses me out. My husband doesn't support me. My kids won't listen. My schedule is impossible. Maybe. But here's the question self-awareness would ask. What part of this is mine? Not because you're to blame, but because ownership creates options, and options create freedom. Psychologist Albert Bandura spent decades studying something called self-efficacy, the belief that your actions actually matter. His research consistently showed that people who believe they can influence outcomes are more resilient, solve problems faster, recover from setbacks more quickly, and accomplish more over time. Why? Because they stop waiting. Self-awareness helps you recognize your patterns, your triggers, your excuses, your habits. And once you can see them, my friend, you can change them. That's agency. You stop saying, this is just how I am. And you begin saying, this is something I can improve. Now, can you imagine how different your life would feel if every challenge became an opportunity instead of a sentence? Honestly. Okay. The next thing that self-awareness gives is authenticity. I think this one might be the hardest for ambitious people because somewhere along the way, many of us learned that success meant becoming whoever everyone else needed us to be. The dependable employee, the perfect mother, the supportive wife, the strong friend, the leader who never struggles. We became experts at performing, but performing is exhausting. Authenticity is freeing. Dr. Brené Brown's research reminds us that authenticity requires courage. It requires the willingness to let go of who people expect you to be so you can become who you actually are. And here's the beautiful part. When you're authentic, you stop comparing. You stop pretending. You stop chasing approval because you finally understand your value. You understand your strengths, your communication style, your boundaries, your purpose. You stop asking, what do they want from me? And you begin asking, what aligns with the woman I'm becoming? That's a completely different way to live, my friend. All right, next, self-awareness gives you authority. Now let's talk about authority for a minute, okay? Not titles, not status, not being the loudest person in the room. Real authority comes from clarity. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know who I am. I know what matters. And I know what no longer I'm going to tolerate. Research on leadership consistently finds that self-aware leaders are viewed as more effective because they make better decisions, communicate more clearly, and build stronger trust with their teams. Why is that? Because people trust consistency, and consistency comes from alignment. Authority is what allows you to say no without apologizing, to create boundaries without the guilt, to stop explaining every single decision, and to choose relationships that support your future instead of your comfort. The more clearly you know yourself, the less permission you need from everyone else. That's authority. Now, here's what most people avoid, the truth. I think we've gotten this wrong. Most people think confidence comes first. I don't. I think honesty comes first. Confidence grows every time you're willing to tell yourself the truth. The truth about your habits, your fears, your patterns, your relationships, your excuses. Every honest conversation with yourself is another brick in the foundation of your confidence. And every lie you tell yourself is what's going to weaken it. Leadership doesn't begin when someone gives you a title. Leadership begins the moment you're brave enough to lead yourself. Now I have a challenge for you. Here's what I want you to do this week. The next time something frustrates you, before asking, why does this always happen to me? I want you to ask this. What is this situation trying to teach me about me? That single question can change your relationship. It can change your business. It can change your confidence, your future, because self-awareness isn't about finding everything that's wrong with you. It's about discovering everything that's been true about you all along. All right. So if today's conversation challenged you, which I hope it did, good, because growth usually does. This is exactly the kind of work we do inside the Executive Alignment Framework Leadership Intensive. Over 5 days, I will help you develop the self-awareness, emotional intelligence, confidence, and personal leadership skills that create lasting transformation. Not because you'll become someone different, but because you'll finally become aligned with the woman you've always had the potential to be. If you're ready to stop performing and start leading your life with intention, the link is waiting for you below. And before you go, I want to hear from you. In the comments, answer this question. What's one thing you've recently learned about yourself that changed the way you see your life? Now, I read every single comment and I love seeing the conversations that happen. So if this video encouraged you, please subscribe, because every week we're learning how to live with more clarity, confidence, alignment, emotional intelligence, and purpose. So until next time, my friend, keep becoming. Bye, guys.